let's just sew whatever. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are making the Ashley clutch wallet from Lindshandmade. Why? I made it. I don't know. Every time I've tried to use a bar clasp, it never works out. The pattern doesn't work for me. And this one did. I wish I had centered this. I was like, what if I mess it up? I'd rather be off-centered than centered. And I'm sad, but it comes together so easily. I love the side panels. I was worried I wouldn't be able to get it, and I did it. So it was actually really easy. And then there is the inside. There's two zippered pockets, very easy. Card slots, super easy. It's 6 card slots, but you could definitely get more in there. And then this would definitely fit a phone as well. Yeah, that's my 12 Pro Max doodad. And these are bar clasps that I designed actually, so pretty excited about that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into making this pattern. Be sure to subscribe. If you haven't checked out Linds's video, definitely do that because she's amazing. She designed it and she makes videos. So go subscribe, check her out, and let's get started. All right, today we are making the Ashley clutch wallet from Lindshandmade. I'm gonna start by prepping my zippers. I am using number 5 nylon tape with pop tab zipper pulls that are available on my website. We do also sell zipper tape if you are interested. The only other hardware this really uses is a bar clasp. I am using this one I just recently designed. I'm super excited to use it. Opens like that. You want to make sure that your screws are all included. You should have 8 unless the one you're using uses more. It's up to you. And then make sure everything is included, everything's functioning well. Just closes like that. And then we're going to want to make sure that we have something to cut the hole out of our fabric this size. So I'll probably be using like a rivet press and an X-Acto knife. And then we'll want to make sure that we have glue to install the bar clasp. I have not installed one of these in many years. I just never really found one I liked, so I decided to just design it. I am using vinyl for the exterior, so I have followed the instructions for fusing the vinyl, etc., but I decided I wanted to add this little strip of fabric. I off-centered it just so it wouldn't be too big of a deal if it wasn't perfectly centered in the end. Should be fine, but I am just going to top stitch this on. I did not interface this, but I did fold over the edges 1/2 inch, so there's no raw edges. I do have a cutting video for this bag if you are interested in that. I've taped it into place. Get off the machine, baby. Come on. And then we're just sewing it down. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know what I was doing. I was thinking I would sew it across the top, but I'm like, wait, I don't really need to. Anyway. Off to a great start. So I did transfer the markings for the card slots already, but we are going to be folding those together. So pretty. Okay, so we have 6 card slot pieces. We have 2 that are a little bit bigger and 2 that are, or 4 that are smaller. So for all of them, we're going to measure 1/2 inch from the top edge. And then on these, we're going to draw 1/2 inch on both edges. So this is going to get folded over and then top stitched, and it becomes the top of our card slot. So I am using a cotton woven with interfacing applied. You could use waterproof canvas without any interfacing. And she does say you want to keep these in separate piles so that you don't get them confused. Because these get sewn at the centermost point of the wallet, and then these go underneath. Since you'll see the edges of these, you won't see the edges of these. All right, so now I'm gonna grab some tape. I think she uses a glue stick. You can use whatever, but I'm just gonna line my tape up at the top edge of that marking so I can fold my fabric to it. I have tried, how many wallets? I think I've tried 2 wallets with a wallet frame, but like I said, I'm always just so intimidated by not excess hardware, but like really specific hardware. So I was excited to see this pattern, and it looks fairly easy, like of all the patterns, you know. Alright, so for those 2 bottom pieces, we're going to fold over that edge to meet our 1/2 inch line. And then I believe we're only going to top stitch one side, because then the other end is going to get sewn into place within the wallet. I did transfer all of the markings onto my card slot panel. I could definitely see making a bunch of these at once. You might even be able to like cut the length of this, so like all of this together, and then fold that over and top stitch, and then cut them into the pieces you need, just to make batch sewing a little bit faster. And I think it's great that it's not like folded cotton or canvas, so that it's not too bulky. You've got plenty of room for materials, not materials, but your belongings in the wallet. Okay, so let's top stitch the top edge of all of these. I'm doing a bit of a bobbin dump, so my bobbin color isn't the same as the top, but I didn't want to wind a whole new bobbin when I have some greens. If you would like a more detailed video or to watch the video from the designer, she does have that available. And then chain stitching these like this ensures that I don't have a ton of extra threads to trim away. Okay, So with the card slot panel positioned vertically in front of you, take one card slot and align the bottom raw edge directly over the top drawn line. All right. So we want to keep the ones that have a bottom fold separate. So we're going to grab this. This is my finished edge. We're going to lay the bottom raw edge down over top of that drawn line and sew that into place. 1/8 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch above that raw edge. And then I always like to keep a gift card or old credit card close by, so that looks good. And then we'll take another card slot and lay that directly over top of the next one, 1/4 of an inch. And now this is going to be number 3. And this is the one that we need our finished edge at the bottom there. Oh, okay. And this one gets 2 lines of stitching. So 1/4 of an inch up. Right on a bobbin. I had a feeling. I would say you would want to have at least 1.5 bobbins full for this project. All right, and then we're going to sew 1/8 of an inch away. All right, and then we're going to repeat those steps on the other side. This is the raw edge. Sewing at that line, another raw edge at this line here. Then this is our finished one with the top stitch edge up there. 1/4 of an inch. And 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And then we'll ensure that everything fits nicely. Looks good, looks good. Yep, yep, yep. And then we will add the side panels. This is kind of similar to the H2O to go panels, etc. So I think that's really cool. And then it's 1/4 of an inch seam allowance for this. And I did not baste any of my card slots into place, so I would just give them a little double check before you carry on. Oh, I should have added a woven label. That's okay. So we're going to press this open and top stitch. Alright, and then I think I want to take this over to my cutting table and just make sure that everything is the size it should be. Lastly, trim equal amounts off both side edges so that the completed panel is 7 3/8 inch wide. Alright, I ended up trimming about 1/4 of an inch off of each side. So I almost, oh no, that wouldn't work. I was going to say I almost feel like you could do a 1/2 inch seam allowance on each side, but that would risk your cards not quite fitting. Who knows? Alright, so we're going to grab some double-sided tape, place it across the top edge on both sides. I love that there's 2 zippered pockets, and like the way it comes together is so quick. So quick. And then we have our lining, or yeah, the lining top, and then we have our zipper pocket lining cotton as well. So I'm just peeling up a double-sided tape, laying the zipper down. You could go in opposite directions if you wanted, or same directions. I'll go ahead and go in the same direction on each side. And I've just cut my zipper tape a little bit longer than I need it to be so that there's overhang. This fabric is lightweight enough that I'm not worried about taping my lining into place. I don't think there'll be any shifting. And then make sure that you're using the 7 3/8 inch side of your pocket. Right, and then we're going to press this down, open, and top stitch. And then this piece will be brought up to the other side to create the pocket. And then we'll add the top piece there. Had a little thread wrapped around the foot, and it was definitely going to snag if I didn't cut it. So far, this is absolutely a domestic friendly project. I know in her videos she often uses a domestic sewing machine just to show you that it can be done. I love it. All right, and then we're going to add the top of that panel. I'm just kind of lining this up to see where it would fit best. Not that it really matters. And I don't think I'll need any tape to hold this into place. Feels like it'll be fine. You still need clips to hold it in place though, if you're throwing it off your machine. And then just make sure you're lining up those edges. Then fold that up. Press it nice. And then bring the zipper pull in, just so we don't forget that. All right, so I have trimmed the body of the wallet to be 12 inches tall, and now we are going to center this along the decaville, making sure it's in place. And I'm going to want to trim up my zippers, of course. So I'm going to use some double-sided tape to help me hold this along the sides. I'll just use 1/2 inch wide. You could probably use glue for it as well. You just want to make sure that you don't have any like big glumps to where you can kind of like see it through the other side. And then if your machine doesn't like double-sided tape, be careful with what you're using and where you're using it, because I feel like we're going to be folding along this area pretty soon. All right, make sure that your zipper pocket fabric is nice and flat. And those top edges are lined up nicely. Sorry if you can hear my iron, it's constantly leaking. I am a little worried about how tall this is, but I think it'll be okay. Obviously, I have to fold it first before I can put it on, but I think it'll, actually I think it's gonna fit like just perfectly above that zipper. All right, we're gonna sew across that top edge just to help hold all of those layers together. I could see like a water resistant canvas being really nice for the lining of this, because it wouldn't be super bulky. This doesn't feel bulky, which is nice, but I could see other materials kind of getting that way. All right, so we've got our centers marked. You don't want to clip that center because this gets like folded over. You just want to mark it. All right, and now we're gonna grab our side gussets. I am doing the vinyl, but I'm going to do a little combination of the two because I don't have heat transfer vinyl. I don't think it's going to be too thick, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the top of my cotton by like 1/4 of an inch. I'm gonna iron this, may as well. My iron is constantly steaming anyway. I don't have any interfacing on this panel. I did think about using like Heat and Bond Light, but that's just gonna be so bulky. You don't wanna do that. All right, we're gonna draw a line 1/2 inch down from the top straight edge. And I'm gonna add double-sided tape. We're gonna fold it to that line, so I'm just gonna use some 1/8 inch wide. I'm gonna put some 1/8 inch wide below the line and above the line, and I'll show you why below. And you do not want to do this with a super thick cotton or a super thick vinyl. And this vinyl is kind of thick, but it should be okay. Watch me eat those words. All right, come on. I swear to God, Dorothy always gets a hold of my double-sided tape and it's just a mess. All right, a line below and a line above. All right, and before I fold that, I'm going to sew these darts together. And this cotton is going to bunch on my industrial, but I can just give it a little tug to fix the tension. I would not sew this thin of a cotton on much of, for very long, I should say. For something like this, not a big deal, but if you're like putting something truly together, it's not going to turn out well. And then I'm going to press this open. Okay. I'm going to sew this one. I'm just doing a quick little back stitch to secure the edges. And I will trim this side down. Okay, and then I'm going to lay First, I'm gonna open up the bottom tape. This might be a little silly. We'll see. All right, I could trim this up a little bit more still. I want to fit these together. Press that down. Trim it back a little bit more. I want it to be underneath the fold line and not really caught in it. So I'll trace that again. Okay, and I think we will top stitch that. Perfect. I'm gonna apply a little bit of double-sided tape down here too. And then we'll repeat that on this side. I'll go ahead and apply the double-sided tape first, so I have something to stick the cotton to. Yeah. Just trim that down a little bit more. Mark my half. Throw my pen on the ground. Get back here. I didn't trim the fabric enough. It's fine. Okay, and then my side panels are ready to go. All right, we're gonna get the double-sided tape out again. We're going to apply some tape on the outside edge. and along the inside edge. And I am just using 1/8 inch wide. You want to make sure you're using something that sticks pretty well. And then I'm applying tape to the lining side as well, because this is going to get attached here, and then this is going to get folded over like that. So I'm going to start by tearing it at the center and lining that up. Press that tape down really well. I've got a fresh bobbin in my machine. You want to make sure that you're lining up the raw edges of your lining with that exterior. You should have a gap at the top. Press that down. I think I'm gonna like clip this side and then work on the other side, because it feels like things are fighting me. And you want to make sure that is folded over really well. And that your center is lined up with your center. So I'm just kind of pinching around that. I could definitely see glue working better than tape, but maybe what I should have done is like basted these layers together. I didn't think about needing to do that. Maybe I will. But oh my gosh, I'm loving this so far. And it does seem like if you used anything thicker, you might have some struggle getting through everything. And then make sure you're folding this over a decent amount. So that you're catching all of those layers when you sew it together. Make sure when you look from the inside, you can't see any raw edges. But that's what it's gonna look like. Oh my gosh, so cool. I guess I'll go ahead and clip both sides at once. I am going to quickly, just very ever so into the seams, baste these together. All right, that's going to be so much easier now, I think. Definitely be careful with your choices of materials if you are using a domestic. I could see sewing those sides being a bit of a bear if you're using like any heavy vinyls. Oh, that's wrong. There we go. Wait, what? Yeah, this way. No. Brain dead. What is happening? This goes in this way. There we go. I got there. Okay. Lining up that center point. Pressing that down. And you want to make sure that side panel covers up your zipper tape. And I'm pressing to compress that and folding over so that I've got a nice amount overlapping, and then making sure that top edge is straight. I don't want to top stitch now. I'm so scared I'm going to ruin it. Okay. I think using like an accessory weight vinyl would be really nice, or the mid-weight luxe vinyl. I don't think the sienna or shale or the purple Brazilian would be bad, but it is pretty thick. Okay, but like I'm not top stitch. I don't want to top stitch it. I can't do it. It looks so good right now, just the way it is. Please don't tell me I have to top stitch this. Oh my god, look at it. Alright, I'm going to trim off this top edge. I didn't add any kind of a nameplate. I'm not really worried about it. It definitely crossed my mind, and then I was like, I just don't know where it would look good. I even thought about just putting like a tag on the overlay seam, but again, I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah, it looks really good. Everything is really symmetrical. You can see the sides there look nice. Look at that when you open it. Looks really good. And like your zipper pulls don't go too far in. So I think that's nice. What do we have here? What's happening? Oh. User error. Make sure your zipper pulls are in the middle though. And let's hold our breath and do it. Hopefully this angle will work to show y'all what we're doing. Oh, then I got my lamp in the way. So yeah, I'm just gonna get really close. Luckily, this isn't like a binding, so we don't need to worry about the other side being off. We just need to worry about what we can see on top and catching all those layers. The bulk actually does not feel bad at all. And you'll want to make sure that you cut your vinyl. You did cut your vinyl nice and straight. Alright, I'm getting to a point where I can't really see, so I'm gonna just move the sewing machine's foot. Leave my needle in, and what I'm doing is this hand here is like pulling in the direction I need to go. Alright, and then we're getting into the crack of the curve. So I'm just slowly readjusting. This really is not bad, like I thought it would be. Hopefully I'm catching all the layers and it's not like false confidence. Oh my gosh, that was not bad at all. Okay, it looks hella good. Okay, other side. And then we do it again. I don't think I showed when I added the Decaville Heavy to the top section of the lining, but there's just two little strips that you add centered to where you attach the zipper. Okay, now we're getting to a point where we need to start pivoting. Leave the needle in. Whew, I was holding my breath that whole time. All right, so now the last step is going to be to add our frame to the wallet. You can see it's got a nice sized gusset, so if you really need to stuff it full of things, there's room. Okay, I'm going to trim up the top edge. And then you can decide which one's the front, which one's the back. But I really don't think it matters much. But the way it gets attached is this will go on this side. Oh my gosh. It's so good. And then the other piece goes on the other side, but we're going to have to cut out a hole. And that is absolute perfection. Oh my goodness. I love the way that looks. It would be better if it were centered, especially since this has this like fun curve, but it looks pretty good. So we're going to add some glue. We're going to put that back on and add some screws. To install this, I have some Gutermann Creative Glue. My friend Lejeune gave this to me years ago. I'm going to grab one of my machine magnets. I like this one. I can do this. And I'm going to put on my... Oh, I almost dropped that everywhere. Hilarious. I'm going to add all my screws to it, so I don't lose anything. I'm going to pull this back off as much as it hurts me, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue in there. Be careful you don't start pushing on your glue, because chances are it's already coming out. Maybe I'll just put a little on the top edge here. You do not want a lot. You do not want big glumps of glue. No glumps. Glue lumps. I think that's the second time I've said glumps. And I don't think that's a word. Okay. So just a little bit of glue, get that cap on. Whew, that smells real good. And then you want your screws to be on the inside of the wallet. Oh, just get the glue all over your hands. Right. Yeah, you can see that. So I'm going to kind of go in at an angle. If you need to, you could compress the edges first if your materials are a little too thick. But it is a perfect fit. Just kind of squishing in there. Perfect fit along the edges there as well. And then if you need to, you can use an awl to kind of get your holes started. I know I used to have one, but I don't know where it is now. Oh, I can use my stiletto. All right. This will help just to kind of get that started. And then some people use a little bit of Loctite at the end. Oh, I thought it fell off my screwdriver. It's like, no, no. Dang it. And Dorothy took my, there we go. I caught it. No worries. This is why I don't use a ton of hardware like with screws and stuff. I'm just not coordinated enough for it. Yeah, buddy. I personally recommend using an electric screwdriver. I just think it goes faster. And then I kept the tip of my screwdriver attached to a magnet. Wow, could have been doing that this whole time. And that really helped magnetize this piece a little bit so that the screws don't just fall right off. Okay, so that is on there very securely. My turn lock piece. So now comes the fun part of cutting a ton of holes in this. So I'm lining it up. And one of the main reasons I designed this wallet frame to have this really long piece under here is so that there's more fabric underneath the bar clasp, because usually there's like a little tiny bit, 1/8 of an inch, and I'm like, no. But you can see here, like, it's pretty close to the zipper. But oh my gosh, I'm going to be addicted to making these now. If I weren't filming, this would have taken like probably an hour at most. All right, so we're gonna trace out the circle. Chances are we're gonna have to cut from the very top, but it shouldn't be too bad. And then you just want to use a very sharp pair of scissors, or if you have a die set like this is hole punch die set, you could match up one of these. Ooh. I mean, that'll work. That'll do. Wait, is it too wide? Because you don't want it to be too wide, but you also want it to be a little bit wider than the hole so that it doesn't look terrible. Let's see, what do we think about one of these? Ooh, that's pretty dang good. And this one I think is a little bit too, yeah, it's too small because you don't want to see anything popping out of there. So there's the sharp edge side, and I had a press over here, but maybe I'll just, you can also use like a hammer or something to punch it out. And you want to go beyond your silver marked line. The thought that I'd have a hammer down here is kind of ridiculous to me, so I'm going to go get the hole punch press. Alright, so I have a punch with a press plate, and it's just going to help me apply the pressure to this, and then I've also got a cutting mat underneath. So I'm going to line up my punch onto my fabric and slide it under. I guess I'll take the riser off. No, I think I can get it underneath there. Yeah, there we go. So having the press, you could even use like an arbor press or something, just helps apply the pressure nice and evenly. So I'm just going to crunch this under that. Beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. And then we do want to apply fray check glue, something to that area. And then we're going to lay the wallet frame back on with the screws to the inside to make sure that looks good. And I would say it looks pretty darn good. There's a little bit showing, but honestly, I'm not that worried about it. I did it. I did. Why am I so excited? Because every time I've made one, it failed, and this one is perfect. Ugh, it's so good. All right, so now we're gonna glue this on. Oh, it was just my phone. I don't think I can get the tip of this into the wallet frame. No, I can't. So I'm just gonna squeeze this onto the top. Again, no globs. Make sure you don't get glue everywhere. Do I have any fray check? I do. I have this fray check from about 75 years ago. Oop. Does it work? I don't know. Hello, are you home? Do you work? I can't even tell if it's a liquid anymore. No, it does not. Great. I have some of this fabric fusion, so we'll just do that. I'm gonna get high on huffing glue. That's what I'm gonna do. All right. And then remember you applied this, and it's right at this part, so don't put it in there. Let it dry. I am gonna take a little scrap of vinyl to kind of rub that away. You could even use edge coat. Oh my God, how fun would that be? Along this little area. All right, so I didn't really wipe away any of the glue, I just kind of pressed it in. And then again, screws on the inside. Smoosh it down. Make sure you keep any glue off your fingers as you're touching the wallet. And press all the way down as far as you can. Get it in place. And then I'm going to punch the holes to start where my screws are going to go. What's nice is we've got that layer of Decaville Heavy up there that our screws are kind of biting into. You could even make a bunch of these and then like sit and watch TV applying all the frames. When your family's like, you never spend time with us because you're always sewing. Be like, fine. Now I will. Okay. This one didn't go quite far enough, so I'm going to apply some extra pressure. Here we go. Again, I have that glue drying on the edge of my fabric in there, so I'm not going to close this, but I'm so tempted. Maybe I'll just do it. Maybe it won't touch it. I gotta do it for the gram. Oh, shoot. There we go. Had a little piece come loose. There we go. That is the Ashley clutch wallet all finished. I've got some little glue pieces here, but I can wipe those off. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I had the time of my life making this wallet, and that is no exaggeration. I sketched this out months and months ago, so being able to like actually use the frame is so satisfying to me, and like it's just gorgeous. Such a well-written pattern, so much fun to make. I will definitely be making more of these. I hope you will try it out too. If you're nervous about a wallet frame, you can do it. Just make sure you've got some really sharp scissors if you don't have a hole punch, some glue, and a screwdriver, and you're all set. Thank you for watching. I hope you subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye.